So what this piece is an aluminum cast of a sculpture that I created. So the sculpture was based on a sketch. The sketch was based on some ideas that I had been working on, and then we took those ideas and we created a 3D render of basically the armature for this piece. And then that 3D render, I put texture over and paraffin wax and created an outer shell. And then we took that outer shell and then melted it away with liquid aluminum. And then basically the liquid aluminum is what you're seeing. These are casts of all the components, and then those are put together. The title of this piece is called Rise, and Rise has a lot of meanings. There was a lot of different inspirations and things that we talked about and discussed when we were when I was sort of collaborating with sorry, hold on, let me start that over. So this piece was commissioned, and the person that commissioned it wanted a piece that had something to do with equality, that had something to do with sort of ideas of that nature and like what it means to be human, and something that kind of transcended race, transcended gender. And so I like using skulls to sort of represent that, because skulls to me are elemental. They're natural forms that like represent us. It's like, you know, like death stares at us, but we also laugh in the face of death and we challenge death. And the skull, the human form, you know, anatomy, that's underneath everybody. It's underneath all of us, and you know, it doesn't affect, like, everybody has a skull. Everybody looks the same underneath, and that's why I like using a skull to kind of like, you know, illustrate that. In between all these segments, I really wanted to play with text, because I use text in my work, but I don't use a lot of text in my work. It's very subtle. I'll throw a few words into a painting or, like, you know, something like that. So what I did with this piece is I actually had each section connected by the word rise. So the word rise comes from this side corner and goes to the top side, kind of diagonally, linking all the pieces of the sculpture together. And the word rise is almost like a tag. So it was something that I actually like tagged out, and then I had that sort of made into like a logo, and then that logo was then, you know, written into the 3D STL file, and then that sort of just all kind of came together and made the sculpture. And then the aluminum casting process is pretty intense process, and it just links everything together. The sculpture itself right now is about 120 pounds. Originally we were thinking of doing it in bronze, but bronze, it would have been over 400 pounds for something about this size. The aluminum also gives it a really nice metallic sheen, and I like the fact that you don't necessarily know exactly what it's made out of when you first go up to it. It's really important for me and a lot of my sculptures of skulls. I always have an open forehead with a geode. So there'll be a geode with crystals and everything that kind of show the open forehead. That's sort of where, you know, they think the you resides in your brain, right, in the frontal lobe. So I like having that nice and open and glittering, you know, and kind of just to show off that space. It's also a nod to maybe, you know, the evil eye and stuff like that. Yeah, any questions?
How long did this process take to start to finish?
From start to finish, that's a good question. I think it's been over almost 2 years from start to finish, like very, very start, from like the initial idea until now. It's probably been about 2 years. The process of casting and like getting everything ready to this point was like the physical stuff probably a year and a half, but like from idea to now, I would say definitely 2 years. And it's funny because this, when you see the sketch for this, I'm pretty astonished at how accurate the sketch is. Like the sketch and this look almost exactly the same, and that sketch was done like 2 years ago on watercolor paper, and it was just like a charcoal sketch, and it was charcoal, watercolor, and pen and ink, and it looks so close to this that yeah, I don't know, it just really kind of came together, and yeah.
It's amazing. Any snags on the 2-year journey on this creation here?
COVID was a big snag, but just delays and on everything.
Makes sense. Are you happy with the overall product?
Yeah, I think this is so far probably one of the best pieces I've done. I think one of the best sculptures I've done. I really like it. I like the stripy aspect of it. I like that it's weird and kind of makes you a little uncomfortable. Something scary about it, but also something kind of charming. Like it's fun, but modern, but like interesting, engaging. I really want people to be able to touch it like I am, like move around with it, you know. It's like really heavy, so you're not gonna hurt it, but you can like, you know. This is sort of one of my favorite angles of it. I just like the side view here, because you see all of these nice sort of like lines that kind of catch the light in different ways. But I think the main part of this sculpture, it's really almost a kinetic piece, because you really want to just be standing in front of it and have all of these like slices. You know, you want to go through each one with your eye and really kind of like, what is that? What's written in there? And just really see each and every piece, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And lastly, when someone sees this piece, what do you want them to feel like? What do you want them to take away from this?
You know, I mean, whatever you take away from it is yours. I don't really, art's weird that way. I don't really want someone to only have one reaction or interact with it in one way. It's sort of like, you know, what do you feel when you look at the ocean? Like, what do you feel like when you like stand in a meadow? Like whatever you bring to it is from you, and you know, it becomes yours in that way. So whatever someone feels from it, is theirs. I just hope people don't like think of it like a skull, like, ooh, it's scary. Like, that's the only thing I don't really want, but if they do, that's fine too. I think skulls to me are more like decorative and fun and symbolic, you know? Losing the light.
Thank you, John. That's all the time we have today.
Thanks, bro. Happy skulls. Losing the light.